Well, happy Sunday, everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I told you in the last one, my throat was a little bit sore and I thought it was maybe allergies. It could be, it still could be, but it's still not completely smooth and silky again. So it may sound a little bit rough from time to time. How are you guys all doing this morning? Well, it's not morning, it's afternoon, isn't it? But I hope everyone's doing good. You will see a new filing. I don't know if he'll post it tomorrow, but I'm not going to reveal why that's there, but just know there's further plans in motion. And I also am going on a little trip, just 4 days, just really fast. Following on a work trip. I'm going to be in Ireland for a couple of days, much, much needed. And before the Blake stands say, oh, people gave her money and she went on a trip, the money people contributed won't come to me till late next month, the 21st. And it's what's enabled me to do what I'm doing this week, besides that trip. So before I go and after I go, working on something that you'll find out about later. But I wanted to clear that up because I still feel weird with people giving me money. I don't know what it is. Every time somebody gives me a super chat or something, I'm always like, oh, no, you don't have to do that. Take it back. It feels really strange. But I wanted you guys to know I didn't just take it and go on a trip. I won't get it till next month. But the fact that it's coming is enabling me to do something very helpful, let's say, that I will reveal to you once it's done. But this trip was already planned and I'm following along on a work trip, so it's minimal cost. Just Ireland is one of my favorite places. I don't know if it's my I always say, oh, that's my favorite about every place, but that's where my maternal grandfather's ancestors came from. And so I love going there. I'm such an emotional person that it makes me feel things, to think that my ancestors walked here, my ancestors saw this, because that's the cool thing about Europe. One of the things I love is that they have things that are so very old. We don't have anything like that here in the States, except for the mountains and the lakes. But man-made buildings, we just don't have stuff like that. I do have the Celtic spunk. I do. I absolutely do. My mom's got the green eyes. I wish I'd gotten them. I have a little bit of green in them, but not like hers. Hers are gorgeous, but yeah, the Celtic spunk. I love it there. Absolutely love it there. So, today I'm going to try to read. Oh, thank you. Oh, the coffee's so much better in Europe. Thank you, Irrelevant Photons. Thank you so much. So, the Okano connection. Yeah, that's why Ireland is beautiful. Enjoy your time there. I felt like it was surreal when I went a few years ago. I cried when yes. And I feel like I don't know what it makes you feel things. It does. I love just sitting in the pubs listening to the live music. And it's not like bars in the States. They're respectable. There's music in so many of them. And it's all different kinds of sorry, I'm so bad at this. Yes, so much history and I love that kind of stuff. I really, really do. Aw, can you stop by Paris for a few hours? I used to go to Paris all the time. It's been a while. I need to get back over there. I love it. I've visited almost every chateau that you can get to in like a day trip from there. Versailles is one of my all-time favorite experiences absolutely ever. But yes, I love France. I stayed in Mentz France, it's just way down south, closer to it's real close to the German border, late last fall. 'Cause I started in Belgium and rented a car. Because flights in and out of different places in Europe are super, super cheap unless you have luggage, and then it gets crazy expensive. So if you rent a car, it's kinda like driving through states. The countries are like the size of our states. So, I started in Belgium, and then we rented a car, and we drove all the way down to Italy, which was super, super cool because it was absolutely beautiful. We drove through Luxembourg, and then France, and Switzerland. Oh my goodness, Switzerland was gorgeous. And then we got into Italy, and we spent a week in Lake Como, and then went down to Tuscany, and then drove back up to Belgium because we had to return the car and fly back out of there. And that was amazing. I would love to do that again. Thank you so much. Sorry, I don't if it's T Hong or one word together. I'm sorry, I don't know how to pronounce it, but thank you. Thank you so much. Hey, Artificial. That's one of my longtime friends. Good to see you. So I could read audiobooks. I read one. I do have one. It's about the Murdoch case. So, well, I'm going to go ahead and get started. We'll chat a little bit at the end too. So, pardon me, I probably won't be looking at the chat too much once I start because like I said, my throat, I am a little bit congested, my throat's a little bit sore. So I want to kind of get through this. So I'm kind of just I typed it up. I'm going to read through it mostly, and then at the end, I'll interact with the chat. If I start glancing at the chat while things are going on, I lose my place, I lose my train of thought. That's just the way my brain's built. So please don't be offended and save your good comments for the end. And we will talk to them then. Hey, Jill. Okay. When you write it, I'll read it. Absolutely. Absolutely. This is such a sweetheart that we talk on X and Instagram. She's just the sweetest, sweetest, sweetest person. Okay. Oh, Kimberly, I still feel shaky. I always have to go straight to the shower afterwards because it just feels weird. It's funny. It feels easier to talk in front of a group of people because you can see their faces and kind of interact with their reactions and their emotions. But this way, I just see my own screen. I can't hear anything. I don't know if my mic's going out. Sometimes it does that. So much. MMT 1976. Okay. All right. Let me just jump in. So today we're going to talk about, like the title says, Ezra's latest filing. What a joke. What a joke. It's so funny to me. Like people had something to say about how I was emotional that first day. And you know what? I've seen a couple people seem almost giddy about getting the subpoena, and I do not understand that. This was devastating to a lot of us. When you're a private type person and protective, and when you've attacked a senator and judges and attorneys on your channel, like before I ever did any of this, and then you hear this kind of stuff, it's unnerving. And like I said, there's a lot of people I love in this world. Yeah, Perez was begging. He literally begged, and he went live, and he's like, here's my email address. Was it his email or his Instagram? He's like, just give it to me. You know, part of it, maybe he wanted to get it over with because he knew it was coming. So I don't want to say anything bad about Perez. But yeah, I don't understand the giddiness about getting one of these. You know, I wish I could. You want one real bad, you can have mine. I wish I could do that. But also seeing other people that I talk with on here and that we've become friends, to see them devastated and worried. And like I said, Ashley has the animal shelter she takes care of, and it puts that in danger because there's too many psychos in this world. And They there's to me, there's something about a person that no, I'm gonna stop there. I'm not gonna do that. Okay, so but seeing other people suffering about it made it even worse for me because I felt like I have to help them. I have to do something. And so I'm trying. I bit the bullet. I went guns blazing. I did it first. Now it's a smoother path for everyone behind me. This next plan I've got it all sorted out for this week before and after my trip. I'm hoping that's going to help not just myself, but everybody behind me if it works out the way that I want it to work out. And if it does, I will tell you all about it when it's all done. But back on my script. So talk amongst yourselves, but save any comments you want for me to the end when we have a little bit of a chat at the end, okay? Besides of this latest filing, we're going to expand to a couple of different topics. We're going to lay down some cold, hard truth. Some of these topics we've talked about before, others are new, but basically Team Blake is worked up about a few things. And they all come back to the fact that Blake cannot admit that millions, at this point, it's millions of people have come to realize on our own, we didn't need to be paid, we didn't need to be manipulated. We're big girls and big boys. We have minds of our own. We're intelligent. We have reasoning skills. We've realized that she and her husband are terrible people that have partially been masquerading as nice people, and partially, I take some blame for not seeing them for who they were, in spite of the fact that they've actually been telling us for years. But we just weren't listening close enough, I think. I think a lot of times we have a tendency to see people as the characters that they portray on TV or in the movies. So for me, I'd only watched Ryan, for example, in The Proposal and The Woman in Gold. I'd only watched Blake in The Age of Adeline. Well, in all of those movies, they were not toxic people. I would have never realized what kind of people they were in real life. I didn't follow them on social media. I'm not the kind of person that follows celebrities or cares what they do in their life. I wasn't subjected enough to them to have ever gotten a measure of their character. So part of it they masqueraded. And then now that I've seen, because when this stuff started hitting the world we live in now, when you hear, oh, someone did this or that, then everybody jumps on it and starts posting about it. That's the natural way of life. That is not a smear campaign. That is not people being paid to do it. That is what happens. And if these people would just sit back and look at how many people in the last 6 months have been canceled or somewhat canceled and just get a grip. Like I said, I don't follow a lot of celebrities, but think about what's her name, Katy Perry. She flew to space. That's the only thing I know, unless she did something else really horrible. I don't know what, but and then she had a concert with some bad dancing and the girl was just shredded. So I might be speaking in ignorance. Correct me if I'm wrong. Maybe she did something worthy of all the hate that came her way. But from what I saw, it was she flew to space and they didn't like her reaction to it or the fact that she did it. And it was cancel her. It's, and that's just one. I'm not going to get into a long list, but my point is, this is the reality of the world we live in today. When somebody missteps, they get canceled. So once there's word out there, something bad about somebody, then that's what everybody does. They dig it up and it just spreads like wildfire on its own. I don't know why Blake feels so special that she thinks that this couldn't happen to her, but this is what happened. So for me, for example, when I take on a subject, I don't just read a few headlines and then go talk about it. I am all in. I hyper focus. I research everything I can. And I have a lot of new people here to my channel just in the last couple of weeks, but I started my channel. This is what I've always done. If you've just met me in this saga, then you probably don't know that. But what I started my channel doing, and if you go and look at those, and I even have like a sort of documentary I started that came to an abrupt stop, but fully intend to go back to. I started it investigating corruption in the legal system in South Carolina. This was on the heels of the Alex Murdaugh double homicide case. But I didn't focus on the murder. I studied the Murdaugh family. I went back over a century digging up in their ancestry. I subscribed to a newspaper service that has the newspapers from all over the country, goes way back, I think, to like the 1700s. I didn't even know that was possible, that they still had that kind of stuff. But so I was able to go back and investigate so many things. That's what I do. I studied the history of their involvement in scandals like a bootlegging farm that was run by the solicitor and law enforcement. I looked into how Alex wasn't the first Murdaugh to steal from his clients, how senators and state representatives banded together to keep each other out of trouble. I pulled up scandals involving sitting judges that are still sitting judges. One of them has been removed. The rest of them are still there. I found he was a sitting senator at the time. He's since lost that seat. I found video of him making fun of people with disabilities, laughing. And after he made fun of them, and he was on an interview, a news interview. And when the host said, "You can't say that," he said he was running for the Senate at the time. And he says, "Oh, it's okay. They can't reach the lever anyway," and pulled the voting lever. And just to continue to make fun of them. It was disgusting. I found a podcast that he'd been on years before where they asked about how he was successful in court. And he said he picked ugly jurors, and went on to say that he picks the ugly ones because they've got nothing to do in life. They sit around and watch TV. And so they tend to like him better than not ugly jurors. Crazy things like that. I talked about a state representative that had an affair with his much younger babysitter and used state funds and a state airplane to fly his mistress around. I spoke about a billionaire who owns a chain of convenience stores, and he doesn't properly manage them. He doesn't pay his people well. So he has a really high turnover rate. What happens when you do that? You don't get to train your people very well. Well, in spite of his mismanagement, he likes the money that he makes off of having a liquor license. So he has this liquor license, so he sells a lot of alcohol, but he has people coming and going. They're not well trained. And so there's a problem. There's a lot of underage customers. And in the state of South Carolina, they have one of the highest rates of alcohol-related deaths. It's off the charts. So one of the sales in his store led to the death of a young girl in a boating accident. When her family went to sue him and other people who had contributed to it, everybody else settled, but not the billionaire, not the one who actually sold the alcohol that led to the death. And I'm not going to get into, the people in the boat were at fault. That's true. They should have known better and they shouldn't have done it. However, if you can't handle your liquor license correctly, give it up. You don't have to have it. You could run a convenience store that doesn't sell alcohol. But if you're going to keep that license, you better take the responsibility to make sure the sales going out of your business do not contribute to a big problem in a state, a well-known problem in a state. So that billionaire, and you know what's funny? I was just named a month ago in that case because I think I was the only one really reporting on it much. Mandy Matney and Liz Farrell, I think they still do from time to time. but I've done a lot about it more recently. And so this for the same thing here, people just can't understand that we have minds of our own and we can deduct things. And so they tried to get attorney Mark Tinsley recused from the case. It didn't work. So the new judge just ruled that he gets to stay on the case. But because I've been reporting on it, they think that he's feeding me information. And so my name's on that one too. It's not a subpoena. It's just they're asking him, have you communicated with her? And it's my name and Liz and Mandy's as well. So this is not this is what people think. They can't imagine we can just come to our own conclusions. So congratulations to me. I'm in 2 court cases that I'm not a party to. But anyway, so these are the kinds of things that I do. And it was the similarity that drew me to this case, this whole smear campaign idea. And it's laughable what Blake considers a smear campaign. Because if you look, there was an actual smear campaign, and they're getting to the bottom of it now in that case. The billionaire did hire people. There were bot farms, troll farms. It's legitimately a smear campaign, and it's being traced at the moment, like actual evidence. But in that case, they were able to find actual real life reporters without getting too far off the subject and diving into that case. But they found the bots, they found the reporter, they found the smear and traced it back. Blake's team are going about it all wrong. They're like, oh, they said something bad about Blake. Maybe it's them. Let's subpoena them. Oh, they said it too. Let's get them. It's so nonsense. Find the evidence that there was a smear campaign first and then backtrack it. You'll have much better success. And if you find no evidence of it, you can't just keep saying, oh, it's untraceable. Oh, it's invisible. Nonsense. If there's an actual smear campaign, there is evidence of it. But all these people see are legit accounts. People that have been around long before this, then they talked about it, and they'll be around long after this. The TikTokers that were making fun of her were legitimate accounts that had long been there, laughed about her for a couple of weeks, and went on to other topics. There's no smear campaign. It's ridiculous. And because they've not been able to pinpoint, oh, this person looks like a bot. Oh, this person, they're just out there subpoenaing. It's madness. It's madness. If you could see what a real smear campaign looks like, you would understand why it's just so laughably ridiculous. What this comes down to is that Blake and Ryan and their PR team and their legal team do not know how to navigate this changing world. They're in a bubble. They're out of touch. The PR team, they have no knowledge or ability to handle this situation. Social media seems to be outside her knowledge and ability. To make it in the PR world today, and it's not about her age, because there are people older than her that can keep up. But these days, for good PR, it is an absolute necessity to have the pulse of TikTok, Snapchat, Instagram, YouTube. It's the young people that are doing the most talking about this. So, and then the legal team, they're equally out of touch. They only know how to shriek and be nasty and say, oh, they're playing to the media again. It's the same old on every single filing. Whether it's Esra or Michael, it's the same thing. And the new guy that hopped on, I forget, John. Yeah, John with no H, if you guys remember him. What does he do? He gets hired, he gets added to the case, and the first thing he does is start repeating those lines that everybody else has been saying. That's like, sir, sit down. You just got here. But the people representing her, both in PR and legally, They're letting her down. I say this because Blake and Ryan, they need new advisors. Not only do they need new and better advisors, they need to shut up and listen to them. And I'm sure that their PR and that their legal team have about had it with them. We saw the walls of text that they were sending to Justin. Yeah, that picture, definitely. This picture. Look at them. They're like trying to climb in his lap, climb in his mouth. I don't know what they're doing. Look how eager they are. It's disgusting. But I'll bet, even if they do get advice, they don't listen to it. And I'll bet they send those same walls of text constantly to their legal team. And I hope their legal team is charging to read them. Oh, thank you, Angelina. AM Angelina, thank you so much. So there's an expression that we used to hear a lot. We don't really hear it expressed so much anymore. And it's called generation gap. Some of you young ones may not have heard it before. I've covered this before when I talked about Blake and Ryan. I'm going to just quickly go through it again because one of their biggest mistakes is trying to hold on to the days of celebrity worship. The way things were when they first entered the industry is not the way that it is now. Blake's basically been a stay-at-home mom for a decade. And I don't mean to insult stay-at-home moms. I think we should champion stay-at-home moms, but I'm saying it because she considers herself on the same level as Hollywood A-listers, when that's simply not the case. Another factor is Blake is almost 40 years old. Ryan is almost 50. Their kids are young, but let's put this in perspective. A lot of people in their 40s are grandparents. So the age a lot of people are beginning their families now in the present time is much later. They're getting married later, they're having children later, and so this has caused the age to increase. But look how much it's increased. Now you see 39. Blake's getting, is she 38 yet? I know she was 37 when this all started, but I don't know when her birthday is. So let's be real. And I'm not being insulting with this. I'm not making fun of anyone of a certain age. That's not my point. But I'm trying to be real here. Thank you so much. Me, Tony, my 1979. Your journalism is appreciated. Thank you. Thank you. Your support is appreciated. But it's a reality that you have to face when you're a celebrity. How often do we see celebrities when they're young, they're super, super famous, and it's very incredibly rare that they can hold on to it as they age. And that's a reality. I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying I like it. I'm saying it's a reality that Blake and Ryan seem ill-prepared to accept. So the natural order of things is that each new generation wants to rebel against whatever the previous generation did. Whatever they thought, whatever they wore, whatever they liked, whatever they listened to, whatever they drove, whatever they watched, what they did for fun, how they decorated, you name it, everything. But let's face it, Blake and Ryan are closer to Gen Z's parents' ages than they are to Gen Z's age. The millennials, the people who grew up watching Gossip Girl and adore her from that, or started to like her from that, while their older fans might still be around and come here and harass us when we're speaking out against them, the cold, hard truth that they can't seem to face is that this next generation is not buying what they're selling, and that's a fact. Let me show you what I'm talking about. So this is a report about Gen Z and their approach to social media. So, for example, someone sent me this, and I thought this is kind of what inspired this topic for this video. And I thought it goes well with Esra's filing because Ezra's so sure that it's all just paid smear campaigns that's making people talk bad about Blake. But let's talk about this. Okay, so I was sent this, so I'm not sure the date, but apparently this is something recent, reasonably recent. I don't know if it was in the last few days, weeks, months, last year, but here we go. A lot of people, a lot of social media influencers, and I don't like that expression, but I don't know what else to call them. They do the get ready with me videos. So Blake made a get ready with me post to promote her hair care. For Gen Z, this is a horror show, and they're already making TikToks copying it with their impression of it. Why? Let's talk about why. It might look normal to most of us, and it doesn't bother me, to tell the truth. But when you look at it through the eyes of what social media is today and what Gen Z thinks of things, it's an eye-opener. So, not only is Blake getting close to 40, she was raised by a much older mother, and her siblings, I looked it up, they range in ages because there's like two separate families. There's the first husband and the second husband, and Blake comes from the second husband. But from the first marriage, her siblings range in age from 53 to 58. And we've all seen that she's super close with her sister. So we, as expected, and this isn't bad, I kind of like people who are influenced by an older generation, but her style and behavior was very much influenced by the fact that her mother was a much older mother and her siblings were much older. And of course, we look up to our siblings. So we learn things from them. We copy things that they did. When we can see it in that video that we just watched. So, I'm not trying to offend anybody. I'm not saying anything she did in there was repulsive. But what I'm saying is you have to take it into the perspective of why she gets made fun of on social media. So, if you were to look at that video and not know who she was or when it happened, let me just ask you, what decade would you think that was? I know there's always a little bit of delay in the chat, but so I don't want to just leave a silence too long. I would say 80s. I would look at that and say, that looks like the 80s to me. Why? First of all, there's aerosol hairspray and so much of it. Yes, 1980s. Someone said 1980s. Someone said 90s. Yeah, I kind of look at things from the 90s, and it kind of gone a little more natural. There was a lot of flat hair, just like parted and flat, and grunge and emo came in, where 80s was more fluffy and sprayed and teased and all of that. So it to me it looks, when you look through stuff, it looks like 80s. Yeah, maybe early 90s too. They were still fluffing in the early 90s. But nowadays, these kids have been raised and taught in school. I'm not going to say like a brainwashing, but it's kind of like a brainwashing, not that it's a bad thing, but the things that are drilled into your head when you're in school, especially when you're young and you're just learning the world. And you're taught, save the environment, save the environment. We've got global warming. We've got climate change. It's killing the animals. It's all of this, all of that. That sticks in kids' heads. So these kids who were first finally exposed to this stuff in the actual curriculums in school, they think like that. A lot of them were coming out of school. They don't want to drive because of what it does to the environment. They they live their life in a way that reflects that they had this taught to them from a very young age, whereas people growing up in the 80s and 90s did not, and so they didn't think about those things. But this generation of kids thinks about those things. What do they see? What do they think of when they see aerosol spraying like that? They think of all the VOCs, which are volatile organic compounds like ethanol or hydrocarbons. And these react with nitrogen oxides and they form ground level ozone. So they see that kind of stuff. They don't like it. They think it looks funny. They didn't see people doing that. They judge it. They think it's bad. So when they see this, they're going to do exactly what they've done. They're going to go make funny TikToks of over spraying their heads turning upside down and overspraying their heads. We're already doing it when she made the one where she had influencers come and she did their hair. And that's what she did to all of them. They came in with gorgeous hair, styled very current, and she would turn them upside down and spray the heck out of their hair and then turn them up and fluff them, and their hair would be a ratty mess, like hers is most of the time. So this is what I'm saying. Another thing, these sprays, they contribute to poor air quality. They cause respiratory issues. They cause environmental damage. They release greenhouse gases. That contributes to climate change, global warming. It kills the penguins. This is what's going through the mind of Gen Z when they see this. So, where's her PR person telling her this is a bad idea? We see hot rollers. When's the last time you saw those? It's been a while, right? A lot of Gen Z probably don't even know what they are. I saw someone say you curl your hair with socks. That's the big thing right now, because to save the damage to your hair, the damage to your environment, a lot of people are using things that don't use heat. You even see the influencers on planes, and they're wrapping their hair in these little gadgets they've got now. They roll it all up, and on their flight, they wear it, they land, they take it out, and their hair is adorable. And that's, if she had a good PR person, they would be collecting this data like they should and showing it to her and saying, this is what you need to do. And if she really wanted to change her brand, she would stop being so stubborn and say, oh, you're right, I need to do this. Another thing, and I'm not picking on anyone who stands in their bathroom and does their hair and makeup. Please don't be offended. Do that all you want. I'm talking about in terms of a PR standpoint, in terms of an influencer. When did you see a successful influencer stand in her bathroom and spray their stuff all over their sink, all over their floor, all over their glass shower right behind them? You don't see that. They know better. What do? They have a designated space. Now, if they're just doing like washing their makeup off, of course you do that in the bathroom. You need water. It's there in your bathroom usually. That's different. But when you're doing hair and makeup, if you want to be a successful influencer, the Get Ready With Me videos, they're sitting at a vanity. They have an appropriate light, the ring lights. They have their makeup organized in their vanity. They have their hair care organized. It's in an out of the way place. So if they do spray something, not aerosol, all over and flood the whole room, it's not all over the bathroom floor where someone's going to walk by, step in it, track it everywhere, slip in it. And like I said, coat the shower behind you, coat the floor, coat the countertop. You've got to think about these things. You don't just decide, oh, I'm famous, everybody loves me, I'm going to do this and everybody's going to love it. You can't think that way. You have to do research and then do it accordingly. And this is where her PR are failing her. Or if they're telling her this and she's not listening, then it's completely on her. But it's not well done. And guess what? It's going to get made fun of because of that. I'm pretty sure she can afford a nice little vanity in a nice little nook where her products won't spread all over her house or be in places where her children might walk through. Another thing, what does she do? She's like 5 feet from a toilet and a bidet. Have you ever looked into how much fecal matter gets spread around a bathroom with a toilet flush or a bidet spray? I love a bidet. I can't stand to go somewhere that doesn't have one. But I also know that these things spread fecal matter. That it's science. It's been tested. They swabbed it. That this stuff hits the ceiling. Never keep your toothbrush out in the open. Always keep your toothbrush inside your cabinet because everything in your bathroom gets a little spray, and we can wipe everything else down, but there's our toothbrush exposed. Put your toothbrush, yes, or shut the lid first. Exactly. Do something. But yeah, so, and somebody said it looked like someone actually came in and used the toilet while she was doing this. And what does she do? Takes a big bite out of a sandwich that's sitting right there in there with her. That's another topic. People are like, "Oh, how gross." Fecal Don't make me cackle. I have such a, like, weird bird or chicken laugh that you made me cackle. Not that one, not that one. Yes, yes, a separate toilet room. Yes, that's a good way, but if you can't have that, there's other things. Here's what I was trying to do, fecal Wednesday the Black Cat. Thanks for making me, do my weird bird laugh in front of everybody. Okay. So, oh, thank you. You're so sweet. Um, it looks like you don't stand for me, Blake Lively. Yes. You changed your name there. So, now, again, I'm not shaming anyone who wants to do this. Do whatever you want. I don't care what you do. But I'm speaking about this again. I want to stress it again from a PR standpoint. If you're promoting products, if you're promoting yourself, you have to pay attention to these things or you're going to open yourself up to criticism. So this is what she's done. But again, yes, who eats a sandwich doing their hair? I mean, it's covered in all of her products that are being sprayed everywhere. She's drying her hair and they're flipping it around. It's gross. It's gross, gross, gross. Appearing like this in a way that everyone's going to laugh about, it's one of her mistakes, and she just keeps making them. And it's on her that Gen Z is now making satire after satire of this video. Go look if you don't believe me. And those are the things that they're focused in. Her eating by a toilet, the massive amounts of product that she uses aerosol spray. But if you ask them, it's all going to be Justin's fault or Tag's fault or my fault because I'm obviously being paid to sit here and tell you that, because somebody obviously sent this information to me, because I don't have my own brain to look at this and come to this conclusion on my own. Somebody had to have given me this or paid me to do it, right? So stupid. And that's why I say every move they make and every step they take, they make this worse and worse for themselves. They don't know how to help themselves. The beginning of all this was because of her bad marketing, hers and Ryan's bad marketing of the movie. And we've been through the way they marketed the movie so many times. If she had just said, "I'm sorry, I was marketing this in a very tone deaf way." And you know what? She could have even blamed Sony and blamed Wayfair and said, I read the direction. This is what I read. Show it to everybody. And this is why I did what I did. That's incorrect. It's her own choice of how she chose to market the movie. But even if she had said that, to take some heat off of herself and then done something, all this woman had to do was post a link to a woman's shelter or make a donation to a woman's shelter, post the number on her poor marketing. There are so many little tiny things that she could have done, and she would have been forgiven. And it would have passed in a matter of weeks and been over and done. In fact, by the time she actually got around to filing a CRD complaint and putting this in the paper, nobody was talking about her anymore. It would have all gone away. But instead, her reputation would have been mostly intact. But what she's done has just blown it all up. And everything she's done since then just keeps making it worse and worse. So that's why I have this picture of these people, because they're not helping her. Not one of these people are helping her. And two of them are taking millions and millions of dollars from her. And they are not helping her. And now it's too late. It's too late. She could have then, but she can't now. Too many of us will never see her the same way. Well, I didn't really have much of an opinion of her, but and she continues to bury because she doesn't know humility. She can't apologize. She can't say she's wrong. Even when people talked about her plantation wedding, even when people talked about her antebellum website, it just wasn't in her to apologize. Yeah, Ryan apologized somewhat and threw money at it, but there was nothing coming out of her, and it wasn't much of an apology. But she spoke when was the Times 100 most influential people? How long ago was that now? Time? I've lost my concept of time. But she said she was going to be the voice for women. Then she had an interview on late night TV, said it again. She was never going to stop talking for women. Can we find one woman that she has supported since then? Nothing. Nothing. Ashley mentioned something about her not saying anything about the Texas floods, and it was so funny because, like, the next day, finally in her stories, there was something about the Texas floods. But there have been so many situations where she could have done something, but she refuses. She absolutely refuses, and to me, that says more about her than any of the rest of this. When you mess up, why is it not your first instinct to admit it and apologize? How are people so unable to do that? I cannot. Yes, she acts like a spoiled brat, where when you say, "Did you do this?" "No." "No." "Yes, you did." "No, I didn't." It's like that. It's really sad. But back to this screenshot. When you talk about Gen Z, they expect influencers to take a stand on social issues. It's even got a name. It's called influencer activism. And they will unfollow if a person does not align with their values. And this was written in 2024, before all this happened. And this is what studies have discovered. And this is exactly what happened to Blake. Not a smear campaign. This is the life that we live now. This is our society today. This is what happens. So if you're going to make it, if you're going to be able to successfully market your brand, it absolutely requires the Gen Z's audience. You have to understand them. You know, celebrities, like I said, whether they're singers or actors or sports heroes, they're going to eventually fade out of the public eye. Thank you very much, Glow Loves Books. Apparently, she didn't stand up for Taylor Swift. Yeah, she didn't even do that. So, what kind of voice for women is she? So, there may not be much that you can do to keep your star shining. It's a fact of life. But there are definitely things that you can do to not turn yourself in to looking ridiculous, like Blake and Ryan have done. And rather, she just cannot face that this is what's happened to her, partly because it's the natural flow of life, and partly because she wasn't really out there making any hits to keep this natural, to keep out, to keep it up, to keep her star shining. So if you're trying to sell things as an influencer, you have to reach the younger generations because let's face it, they're the ones that are buying things off the internet. They're the ones buying things when they see it advertised on Instagram or wherever. They have the disposable incomes for vanity type purchases. People Blake's age, they're buying stuff for their kids. They're saving because their kids are about to go to college. They're making repairs on their houses. They're keeping their cars running. They're not going to pay $30 a bottle for a set of 5 different products that are so tiny they look like they're going to last for 2 weeks. There are people who can afford that, but that's not the majority of people. This is more likely to be Gen Z who might still live with their parents. And so they're influenced, oh, this brand's hot and cool. I want to make a video about it. Not standing in my bathroom like that, but so you have to target these people. So Out of curiosity, I did a simple Google search. I just asked, what celebrities, which should have been which, what celebrities have hair care lines? That's all I said. See, I didn't minus anything, and this is what it gave me. That's a pretty big list of names. She's not even on there. What does that say? Is this Justin's fault? Is it Tag's fault? Is it us creators' fault? No, she's failing. Because if that was her advertising, it's bad. It's not going to work. So she needs better PR. And Ryan's got enough money to buy himself a marketing company, but look at what it produces. It's a whole bunch of Deadpool weird stuff. And then things that he's used on his own teams or his own movies. Nobody's out there going, wow, Ryan's got a great marketing company. Let's hire him. Go look at his portfolio. It's sad and pathetic because what he produces is either all about him or it's just really bad. They have no concept of reality and they're not willing to change. They think they know better. She's still in this because she mostly stayed like on Instagram where she was surrounded by fans who loved her, where you can block people who say anything you don't want to hear. And you just get praised all day because people realize, oh, if I say something she doesn't like, I'm going to get blocked. So I'm just going to praise her. So she surrounded herself in that atmosphere and started to believe that it was real. And that's her mistake. So now we get to this filing. And she's back. And she's fueled by us content creators because now, because of her, thanks to her, we have a chance to not just speak our truth, but we get to speak our truth on the docket. We're now getting to reach people that didn't know we existed because now our stuff's on the docket. And at her invitation. What a stupid, stupid move to send subpoenas to some of the mouthiest people on social media and invite us onto the official court docket. Another huge mistake. We're not going down without a fight. It's that simple. You saw what I wrote. I stand by every word. And I'm just, only mine and Lauren's have hit so far. There are 14 more from YouTube and 20 from X. And now the judge has got to deal with every single one of us because whether he likes it or not, he has to read it to rule on it. And we're not done. So, another humongous mistake. They thought they'd intimidate us, didn't they? They did not. They made us mad, and they gave us a bigger platform. The other thing I want to say is in all of these filings, what do we notice? It's all about this smear campaign. I thought this was a case of sexual harassment. Didn't you? Where's the talk about that? Where are the filings about that? Where are the subpoenas and depositions about that? All we get to hear about is this, because this is what she cares about. She wants people to worship her, and she cannot accept that we don't. She is losing. Did you see the? And I just want to say this, not that it's because of me, but the day that my letter hit the docket, did you see how many she lost? It had been tapering down to like 6,000 a day, but the day mine hit the docket, 46,318. That's how many she lost on Instagram. What does that tell you, Blake? What they should do but won't do is revoke those subpoenas. They won't. So let's see what she's screeching about this time. This time, it's all Tag's fault. She's mad about two things, and she mentions this attorney's eyes only designation, the one that she fought so hard for at the very beginning of the lawsuit. We also see that she's demanding to know who Tag communicated with and how Tag is manipulating the discovery process. So this is her reaction to mine and Lauren's letters hitting. So, and yeah, I shouldn't say, I should have added Lauren to that when I said the day mine hit the docket, because Lauren's and mine hit the same time. I think hers was actually the filing right before mine. So ours hit the docket and she lost almost 50,000. And that was at the time I looked. I didn't see it at the end of the day. It might have been more. But so here's what she's on about. This has obviously been a fight about this designation that Tag is trying to use. And if you're not sure who Tag is, that is the agency group. This is the company that Jennifer Abel started when she left Stephanie Jones at JonesWorks. And she teamed up with Melissa Nathan. And so now she's saying this is all their fault. I couldn't even remember who was involved with Tag. I thought it was just Melissa Nathan's company. I had to go back and look, but these are the people that supposedly are the reason that I and these others were subpoenaed, which is really big news to me. So they had asked for this in discovery, and then in June, and what they'd asked for is for them to identify individuals and media outlets with whom they communicated about Miss Lively and topics related to this lawsuit. As I have said and will continue to say, no one has communicated with me other than people in my comments. And if one of them made a comment on my channel, they certainly didn't give their name, so I wouldn't have known if it was them. But like I said, because I've been burned a couple times where someone has told me something and I repeat it before I have a chance to look into it, and then come to find out it wasn't correct. And then I've got to go out and embarrass myself and make a statement to say this was a mistake. For one, was the Michael Gottlieb. And I said it in the video when I talked about it. I said, I haven't had a chance. I want to deep dive this and go through it. But I did say that Mike Gottlieb had been in 50 cases with the judge. And then what happened? It got screenshot. It got spread around. In the meantime, I found out it wasn't true. And I had made a retraction, but it's really hard to make a retraction and make sure that every single person that heard what you said in the first place hears the retraction. There's always people who don't come back and see the retraction. So that's what happened. And people still think, oh, Cassidy said this. I was repeating what someone told me, but I shouldn't have said it. And so I did apologize and set it straight. But those kinds of situations, they're embarrassing. And especially for someone like me who does do so much research. I don't like to just say gossip. I don't like to say I have a source for this. I like to find things myself and deeply research them. So I don't just take what somebody tells me and just state it as fact. If I haven't had time to research and I say something, I will say, I've heard this, but I haven't had time to research this myself. I have not been a mouthpiece for anyone but myself. Okay, so this was a response to, like I said, this was asked for in discovery. Thank you, John. Thank you so much. One of my longtime people. So it was asked for in discovery, and then we didn't get to see everything they asked each other for. We only get to see it if it becomes a problem like this. This was one of the things that was a problem because we see document 295 that was filed back on June the 6th. This was their motion to compel. You can tell we see her hissing in here. We just by reading it, we know this is an Esra document. Well, her and Michael Gottlieb kind of have the same style of just nastiness. It's always over the top mean girl stuff. I always make the comparison between the Wayfarer parties. The Wayfarer parties just excel at those witty responses. You're reading aloud, and then you see this just catches you off guard. It's just this witty little line or a witty little phrase, and it just makes you laugh out loud because it's just so true and just so crispy. But Ezra and Michael, they're about as subtle as a roaring fire engine and just about as pleasing to listen to. So we see that she asked for this list. So she asked for it 3 months ago, and she's fussing about it in this motion to compel as if she's waited for years and years and years, and as if the deadline is nearing. This motion to compel, like I said, was June 6th. There was still plenty of time for the deadline, but they like putting this stuff out there to look like they're not cooperating. Thank you so very much, Catherine K. This is for the if this was me, Blake would be bald fun. Exactly. Again, shout out to the wives, Emily Baldoni, and I forgot, I meant to look it up before I said it again. Jamie Heath's wife, Mrs. Heath. I admire you women so much, and I really admire your self-control. I would not be calm. I would not be quiet. And you ladies have been long-suffering, quiet, and amazing, and very, very classy. I don't own that type of class or that type of self-control. So let's appreciate them again for a moment. But we get into, in paragraph 2, we get to what they had asked them from. So their first ask was to identify all reporters and news or media outlets of any kind with whom you've communicated in any manner. Now, one thing I want to say before we get into these requests, people, the Blake people who just late last night, one of my favorites was messaging me about something they saw on Reddit, and I'm like, stop going to Reddit. Why do you do this to yourself? You know, it's these people who are just there just to argue. I said it wasn't very nice, but I said they have a combined IQ of 3 because they're not informed. Thank you so much, Vicky Ivy. They're not informed about the case. They don't use logic or reasoning. They take a few little words and they grab them and they magnify it and they run with it and they turn it into something it's not, and then they feed off of each other. So let's be clear. Just because there is this case against the people in the Wayfarer Party does not mean that they cannot defend themselves or speak with the media. So if you hear these if you hear these flying monkeys talking about this, because they made so much of a big deal, apparently. Natasha Heath, thank you, and Jessica Sarwitz, thank you, and the wife of the actor, the OBGYN actor. His resume is better than the whole rest of the entire crew combined, and they accuse this man, and he has this beautiful wife too. It just yes, Jane, conspiracy theorists. Oh, I love your little hummingbird. But they're under this mistaken idea that these people cannot speak to the media. That they can, but these people cannot. That is incorrect. They cannot take part in an actual smear campaign, but they have every right to defend themselves. So just because we saw a list, because there was a list of news media outlets and a few of the bigger content creators like Candace and Popcorn's Planet, just because their names were on there, that these people might have, maybe they were asked to give their comment on something and they did, they have every right to do that. And that does not make them guilty of being involved in a smear campaign. We don't know what questions they were asked by these people and what their comments were. Just because those people were on this list does not automatically make them guilty of being part of the smear campaign. Not only that, it doesn't mean you get to subpoena them. It means you get to say, Okay, these people are on your list. Now we compel you, either in a deposition, to tell us what that communication was, or with further requests for discovery. And guess whose responsibility it is to answer that? The person who put those names on their list. It doesn't mean you get to just go subpoena that person. You're supposed to be getting this information from parties, not from non-parties via a third party. So it's absolutely ridiculous that the flying monkeys have taken this and automatically concluded that because there's this list, that anyone who might be on it is automatically guilty of taking part of a smear campaign. And then we get to the content creators, where my subpoena came from. So after asking about the official media outlets, then we get to, and this little dig in there, that this information is relevant, particularly since Miss Lively alleges that in mid-June 2024, Mr. Baldoni took to the offensive in response to her complaints of his on-set misconduct, putting the retaliatory smear campaign in motion. Can you back that up with some proof, Ezra? Surely you have some by now. Where is this complaint in mid-June of 2024? Because as far as we've all seen, there was not an official complaint until December 20th, 2024, when she filed her CRD complaint. So knock this off. Either back it up or knock it off. Stop telling these flying monkeys this kind of stuff is fact. That's the difference. When you tell me something and all these other pro-truth people, we're not pro-Baldoni, we've all said, if it does come out that he did in fact sexually harass her in any way, you think I'm going to support this man? I didn't even know who he was before all of this. I will not. It will not make Blake a better person. It will not make Blake innocent. But I will definitely change my mind and say, okay, that's disgusting. He's disgusting and he deserves all of this. That has not happened yet, but I am pro-truth, not pro-Baldoni, and I have not seen proof that she filed a complaint before December when she got mad because Stephanie Jones sent her the contents of Jennifer Abel's phone. Okay, then here it is. So she is the subject of a sea of media stories, and it is essential to her claims to learn which reporters the Wayfarer parties were interacting with in order to understand which stories the Wayfarer parties may have, among other things, influenced or seeded. Okay, Ezra, get your list from Wayfarer and then ask Wayfarer about the people on the list. This doesn't give you a right to take away my First Amendment rights. All right. Let's get back to this idea about Gen Z. This sea of media stories. Why is she in a sea of media story? We just saw something as simple as her get ready with me. It's not, I wouldn't call it tone deaf like her marketing, but her lack of understanding and her PR people's lack of guidance that leads to her doing things that end up getting laughed at. This is how bad the cancel culture has become amongst Gen Z. And doctors and therapists are saying that it's gotten to a point where it's not healthy. And I would agree with that. That it affects them so deeply, they are so in tune with it and so aware of it that they know if they mess up, they will be canceled, even amongst like their friends or this generation. As I said before in the original episode that I spoke about this kind of stuff, they were born into this. Social media and these devices that we have with us every moment of our lives now, those came into our lives later, but these kids were born into it. They've never known a life without these things. So they have lived their life in fear of messing up on social media. So they are increasingly self-censoring. But this is how strong it is. They're spending every moment watching what they themselves say because they don't want to be canceled. So do you think they're being easy on other people if they're being hard on themselves to the point that it's causing them to struggle? Doctors are saying that they can't be their authentic self because they're living in fear of judgment. That's a heavy burden. You think they're being that hard on themselves and not being that hard on other people? Yes, they are the FAFO generation. They're all about accountability for others and themselves. Somehow, Blake and her misguided and left back in the dark ages teams can't fathom this. They don't understand it. Get out of your bubble, Leslie Sloan and Ezra. So she goes off a little bit, and I skipped it. It's her going off about reporters and the limited scope and the back and forth fighting. And then we get to, and so that's been an ongoing fight. They tried to limit it to individuals with at least 10,000 followers. And Lively Party said no. But think about this. If you want people to carry out a successful smear campaign, are you going to pay money and go through the risks? They're already in trouble. Are you going to go through the risks of going to somebody with 20 followers or even less than 10,000 and know that how little your reach is going to be? That doesn't make any sense. So this made sense to limit it to this, but oh no, that's not good enough. We need it all. And then she mentions this protective order. It's funny how many footnotes she puts in here because right now they're limited. They can only do 3 pages, single space. So you can get more words in your footnotes. So she's got this full of footnotes to get her words in. But oh, hey, Leanne. So we get to we get the protective order and then this document. It goes way back to when we were just babies in this case, when we still had high hopes in the judge. Here we have the big word. Well, first I want to say in this first paragraph, Mr. Reynolds, why does his name keep coming into this? Why are they asking to identify content creators that they've talked about Ryan to? He was dismissed. There's nothing there. Blake can't add him to her thing. This is about her. This is about retaliation for supposed SH. What does that have to do with Ryan? But his name is in my subpoena, and I take great offense to that. Why? Why is he popping back up in here after does he want back into the lawsuit? By all means, bring him back. And now they've only gotten these so far from a couple of to tag, but now they've got these put out there. So there could be more coming because it depends on what shows up on Jamie and Justin and the actual movie, Jennifer Abel, Wafer, all of these people. So they're still waiting to hear from them. Who knows how big this list is going to get by then. But so after all this fighting, they get these interrogatories, and now they're putting all of this on tag. Oh, the content creators are mad, but it's because of tag in this list. There's no way. We're on this list. And look at this word, apparently. Apparently. And all of the flying monkeys just completely forgot about that word. Apparently at the behest. Do you know what behest means? It's like an order or a command. Nobody orders or commands me what I'm going to say on my channel. Apparently or not. And I'm telling you, I have not communicated with anyone in the Wayfarer Party or tag. And if they have put comments on my channel, that's not my fault. And that doesn't give you the right to subpoena me. And if they've commented on my channel, I'm not saying they have, but if that's what this is about, they haven't done it in their own names because I probably would have noticed it. So this is crazy. But like I said, if they're on a list that they gave you, follow up with them. That's what you're supposed to be doing right now. Following up with them. When you put out these interrogatories, you get the information, you ask for more information if you need more information. What else do? You hold them in a deposition, and you get to sit there and they have to answer your questions at the deposition. Why aren't you doing that, Esra? Why are you stripping me of my First Amendment right? And I promise you, my name will not be on here. I have not communicated with these people. I certainly have not been paid by them or seated by them. Thank you, Ocean Exploration. Thank you so much. Money not being used to support. Cassidy, you are making history. Thank you. Lyman cited irreverent case law. He did, as a reason for denying your motion, thinking you wouldn't research it. I wish we saw his face when he FAFO'd out publicly. He did. He put that there in spite. I don't think he even read my motion, where I had all of the case law that supports that I should not be stripped of my First Amendment right of anonymity online. I don't think he read that. And he applied this other case that referred to, it was either a plaintiff or a defendant. I feel like it was a plaintiff in that case. But we also know that an accuser of Diddy, I believe, had tried earlier to file a lawsuit against him in Lyman's court, and she tried to do it as a doe, and he refused to allow her to proceed as a doe in his court. So he's real big on that. But I'm not a party, so that case law he quoted was error. So I've got something up my sleeve I'm getting to this week. Don't worry. And you're going to see I filed, well, I can tell you what I filed. I don't want you guys to panic and think that I chickened out and want to withdraw. So I filed it. I don't know if it will hit tomorrow or not, but I filed to say, if you're not going to grant my motion to dismiss, please put it in abeyance, which means hold it. Don't rule on it yet until July 30th, which is the day before the response is due to Google, so it doesn't hold up the court's time. Or if you're not willing to do either of those two things, withdraw it. I don't want them to rule on it because I'm doing something else. So when you see that tomorrow on the docket, don't think I got scared and wanted to take back what I said. That's not it. It's that there's something else I'm not ready to disclose. So yes, thank you. Thank you so much. All right. So, and you know what? Ezra, you're the one who fought so hard for that attorney's eyes only. And then they're saying that TAG is misdesignating these as privileged work product. So this is the issue now that's they're raising before the court to say this is what they want, that what they want to say. They want this attorney's eyes only designation stripped from it to expose the entire list. And I should have added we should also ask the court not to do this now that I'm thinking about it, because that will make us targets. Because these people jump to conclusions that if our names are on there, that means we are absolutely, definitely part of the smear campaign. So if any of you who have subpoenas out there are listening, spread that word. We probably need to address this in court and file in opposition to this. Oh, he's going to love all of our motions on his docket now at the invitation of Miss Esra Hudson. Thank you very much. Oh, here we go. Content creators who have been the subject of discovery have already painted Miss Lively as the aggressor in this lawsuit. Oh, poor Blake. Shall we all have a moment of silent tears for Blake? And we've drawn a false equivalency between her discovery efforts and the Wayfarer Party's alleged smear campaign. No, Ezra. What do you think is happening to us now with your flying monkeys? They're all out there saying that we're involved in it. Do you know how many people I've had to block on X because they're just so stupid? I just resorted to that. I said, "You know what? Your IQ is not high enough for to waste my time. I'm blocking you." Because you just can't reason with some of these people. They don't understand what you're saying to them, and they can't process it, so they mistake what you said, and they come back with this ridiculous, I don't have time for that. So I just tell them, "You're not smart enough to waste my time, so I'm not replying to you." And when people come and tell me, "Oh, I saw this on Reddit, I saw that on Reddit," or "I heard the Ask Two Lawyers saying this about you." I'm like, don't go there. I don't care. I don't care what these weird people say. I know they're wrong. You know they're wrong. Don't get yourself worked up on my behalf. It's okay. It's not hurting my feelings. Trust me. If I worried about if those people liked me, I would know that I'm doing something wrong. Let's put it that way. I would know I'm doing something wrong. And you know what? Since I shouldn't keep saying as two lawyers because I think Keith and Eric are nice guys. But Stuart, if I hear one more thing about you talking about me, like what kind of bully man? Exactly are you doing? You're an attorney, sir. Leave me alone and keep me out of your mouth. Just stop it. You're so snide. You've driven so many people away with your ridiculous over the top reaction to criticism. And then you're over there talking about me and scoffing at me. I don't watch you anymore, sir. Your words are wasted. And people don't like it when you talk about me. So you probably should stop. Or you're going to end up like Blake. And when people criticize you, look a little bit inward and find out why they're saying what they're saying because they might have a point. Instead of overreacting and snapping at everybody, you're talking to your subscribers. They're there to support you, and this is how you treat them? Grow up a little bit, sir. Be a man. Stop picking on women and stop overreacting. When people say stuff to me, I don't even react that bad. Oh, we shouldn't have. Let me bring that back up. I forgot to say. Yvonne, the recap with Julie posted. How do I make that show? Let me. Here. There we go. A video. Why aren't content creators mad at Tag for throwing them under the bus? Is that really what she said? Because we're smart enough to read between the lines at what was actually said, and we don't buy Ezra's nonsense. Did you see the word apparently, whoever Julie is? Did you see the word apparently, Julie? And you know what? You don't seem to have the information that we have. We know that we are not guilty. We know that we did not do this. That's all I have the truth. Okay, and then, well, in my filing, if you guys saw, one of my exhibits was the transcript from Popcorn Planet's recording when he called Ezra's office. And what he said on that video before he played the recording, I don't know if you guys watch him or not, his attorney had called Esra Hudson's office and asked, are these real? Because if you guys remember, when we first got these, we weren't sure they were real. They didn't seem real. There was so little information. These subpoenas, both of them, the ones to Google for YouTube and the one to X, they look like she dropped them in a puddle before she served them. Did you see? I'm like, what are we back in when were copy machines first made? I don't even know what decade that was, but when you look at those old ones, they're hideous, splotchy. We're in 2025. You should have top of the line office equipment in your office. Ezra, why does your subpoena look like that? Because I take the money from my channel that I make and I put it into my channel. I got a really good microphone. I got a really good sound box. I got a really good printer. I've got a custom built PC, all from what I make from my channel, because what I get, I want to use towards it to improve it. I think my printer's better than yours, Ezra, and I'm sure you make millions. I don't come close to that. So, do you need a GoFundMe to get a better printer or better fax machine? Is that what did you send it on a 19 when did they start? 1990? Did you send it on a 1990 fax machine? Someone help this woman. Help. Ezra needs our help, people. Needs our help. She's probably standing in the bathroom spraying her hair with hairspray and using hot rollers on it too. Spraying the hairspray before she did the hot rollers. Anyway, come on, people. Keep up. Where are we? So, Popcorn Planet's call. So, he wants to know about this puddle subpoena. Is this legit? Because it certainly doesn't look legit. It looks like what is that called? Mimeomachinery. You almost killed me. Bruce from Oregon. Mimeo machines with the blue ink and smelled like salt. What the heck is a Mimeo machine? Okay. Ezra, don't use a Mimeo machine. It's going to be a trending search now. What's a Mimeo machine that smells like spoiled milk? Oh my gosh. I do remember the printers that had the little holes all along the side, and they went through like they were a big roll, and they like fed through those little holes on the side, and they took like 10 minutes to print a page. But oh goodness. Thank you for that, Bruce from Oregon. He called and he's like, "Is this legit?" And they said no. And so he tells Andy, and Andy's like, "I don't know. I'm scared to believe it. Can you call again?" He calls again. Guess what? The same thing. It's not real. We didn't send it. He tells Andy. Andy says, I'm scared to believe it. Call again. 3 times this happens of them denying it. And his attorney tells him again, "Oh, they said it. They said it's not real." So I think, John, she was hoping that they could, it's like she did everything she possibly could to obscure everything. And this X one is even more shady because, okay, we have Leanne, whose name is on there, except it's missing the last character at the end. So what's going on with that? Are they trying to make people miss their chance to respond to these subpoenas? It's all, theirs is just as bad too. It was also sent from a time machine, from a Mimeo. And you can hardly read them. And it seems like it's purposefully to obscure so that even the people at like Google can have a hard time knowing who to contact. It's all very shady. You should have a nice, crisp, clean copy of this to be able to send through your time machine and your Mimeo. So then they go on. So he calls back himself this time because he wants to hear it from himself. The first thing he says to the receptionist is, "You're on a recorded call." Did you guys hear that? Did he say he was live too? I can't remember. But for a certainty, he said, "You're on a recorded call." And she goes on talking to him. Well, guess what? That's expressed consent. When you're informed that you are being recorded and you continue to speak knowing that you are recorded, you are consenting. If you do not consent, you say, "I don't consent to being recorded. Turn the recording off." California is a 2-party state. She had every right to say that, but she didn't. She kept speaking. So he was not wrong to continue the conversation. And what Ezra doesn't like is that the receptionist said, "Ezra said to tell you," because you could hear the discomfort in this woman's voice. She didn't like not giving these people the information they called for. She's probably a decent person. and didn't want to do that to him because he was saying to her, thank you, Rihanna. Keep going, Cassidy. Thank you very much. He was saying to her, I don't want to miss out on this if it's real. I can't remember his exact words, so I don't want to quote him, but he was letting her know this is serious to me and I need to know the truth of it. So I'm sure the girl, if she has a heart, felt bad to tell this guy something that she knew to not be true. But and I think that's why she said, Ezra told us. That's what I would do. If my boss had asked me to lie and I didn't want to, I would put it squarely on them and say, "Hey, this is what Ezra said to say." And that's what she did. And if she gets fired, I hope she files a big fat wrongful termination suit. So then look how mad she is about it. She goes, he further used the recording to make false inflammatory remarks about Miss Lively and her counsel. No, he didn't. He told the truth. He told his experience of what was happening that he has every right to do, as do we all. So sorry about all these pauses. Anyway, so back to this. So he didn't make false inflammatory remarks. He explained what happened. He talked about the 3 phone calls where someone lied to his attorney. That's not false inflammatory remarks. So then what does she do? She's got to make him look bad. That, he's seeking to fundraise based on the recording and his remarks. Ezra, I know you were hysterical when you wrote this. However, his fundraiser was long before these remarks were made. This fundraiser began, and however we all independently feel about this kind of fundraiser, we're going to leave that off the table. It doesn't belong in your document. Because he raised a fundraiser the minute he found out he was served a subpoena. And he has a right to do that. It's not illegal. It doesn't belong in your document. No matter how hysterical you were when you wrote it, just take that on out of there. It doesn't belong there. It's so funny, like people were like, "Oh, the way she spoke to that federal judge." Do you see the vitriol in these documents? Come on. And I had some righteous indignation. And like I said, I don't kiss rings and I don't tremble at robes. He's not better than me. He was wrong. He created the situation that I am now in, and he disregarded my feelings and my First Amendment right. He did not deserve my respect. He got more respect from me than he deserved. My first filing did not include an angry letter. My second filing did not include an angry letter. My third one did, because I'd been put off. I'd had law misquoted to me, my First Amendment rights stripped from me. If I didn't have another way to do it, I established my LLC years ago. So I was ready. But not everybody has that. So, and if I didn't have that, and someone who is willing to take position that they took for me, I would have been screwed, and my government name would have been out there. And that is so wrong. So, yes, I wrote him a strongly worded letter, but I was well within my rights to do it. But this kind of look at this nonsense they fling around at people. She has no right to be talking about his fundraiser. That's not fundraiser. That's none of his business. And she's the one who put him in the position to need one. So shut up about it, Ezra. All right, and now, oh my goodness, oh poor Blake. Let's have some silent tears for Blake again. She's hamstrung. I don't know what that means. I meant to look it up. What does it mean to be hamstrung? Is it like tied up, like when you buy a ham, it's got all that tying around it? I don't know. I guess I should look it up. But But Blake is apparently hamstrung. She didn't look hamstrung when she was doing her hair, though, did she? And being able to tie her discovery to the Wayfarer party's discovery responses. Ezra, I shouldn't be the one to have to tell you this. You have the answers to their interrogatories. You know what comes next? Depositions. When they're sitting in a deposition, they have to answer you. The only thing their attorneys can say is object to the form. They can't refuse to answer you. They can't object like in a court of law and say, my client doesn't have to answer this question. Get them in deposition and ask them these questions. You are exacerbating public backlash. In this letter, because you're just like Blake, you don't learn. Every letter you write like this just makes it worse for yourself and for your client. Ezra. Okay, history is now repeating itself. Oh, because any bad word said about Blake is a smear campaign. Because of Tag's misdesignated interrogatory. Yeah, that's why she's getting made fun of, because of the misdesignated interrogatory response. Not because you're traipsing all over mine and everybody else's that you've subpoenaed First Amendment rights. No, that's not it. It's because Tag put out a list that you didn't follow up with correctly. Yeah, okay. These people cannot ever own up to any mistakes they make. And so they're not letting go. They're like, we're right, you're wrong. And so here's what we got to do. Let's make it even worse. Let's compel them to de-designate these responses. Let's put the whole list of everybody's account names out there for the entire world to see, because that's going to make it better. Then everybody's going to blame Tag. No, we're not. We're going to be even madder because we didn't even see each other's. On those subpoenas, everybody's name was redacted. Do you know what redacting is, Ezra? Look at the subpoena. Look what Google did to your subpoena. This is what we call redact. REDACT. It's what attorneys are supposed to do before they file something that has somebody's private information on it. You know, like the Wayfarer party that you put out their phone number, their address, people's medical conditions without redacting. That's the word of the day for you. REDACT, redact. So now she wants this list put out there for everybody to see who all was subpoenaed. It's another ridiculous thing. Maybe there's people out there, like I said, we didn't find all of the 16. I don't know if they didn't receive their email. Not everybody checks email all the time. They might be sitting there thinking, oh, I would never get a subpoena. So anybody who has a channel, please check your emails that are linked to that channel, because you never know. But there may be people who never found their email, or maybe they found it and didn't want the world to know. They wanted to just quietly send their motion without saying which account they were tied to. And so that when their name gets blasted throughout the entire world, because people around the world are watching this, they won't link the two together and they won't get doxxed that way. Who knows what their reasons were for not coming out and saying, I got a subpoena. But now she wants to take that decision away from them by putting every single person she subpoenaed's name out there. Just another swipe at Tag, because she thinks it's Tag's fault we're mad at them. Lady, you're just going to make us even madder if you do that, because you're stripping away more of our choice in the situation that you brought us into. You have people right there in front of you that you can ask these questions of. Go ask them and leave us alone. If you go through a deposition and maybe find somebody who did, find it out from Wayfair and then issue your subpoena. But I know for myself and the people that I've spoken to about this, we have not done this. You are so out of order. Then she gets so mad. Look at the footnote talking about confidential communications. Look what she lists. The California Penal Code, Section 632. This is a threat. This is an underhanded threat to Andy of Popcorn Planet saying, this is the law that you broke. Sorry, lady, your receptionist was told that she was being recorded and she continued to talk. It's your fault for telling your receptionist to lie. Take the L and do better next time. And don't ask your receptionist to lie. If you want lies told, answer your phone yourself. Don't make people lie for you to save their jobs. But yeah, just coming back to this case that was actually decided in the Southern District of New York. So the case law is there to show it's before Judge Lyman was a judge, but the case law is there for him to research and find out just exactly what he did wrong and how these subpoenas should have gone about. Because when you add doe, it changes all the rules. So for the people, attorneys included, out there saying, oh, lawyers can write a subpoena. Yes, in normal circumstances. When you add doe there, you're talking about people who are not legally represented. It changes the rules. And if you think that those rules are put in there for no reason, what's wrong with you? If you think all of these cases that are cited, you see what Stephanie's going through in California. You see her motions to compel and the back and forth fighting, and the responses are always the same. You have to jump these hurdles to get through. You can't just write a subpoena and get this. And this subpoena is way beyond jurisdiction. Way beyond it was written in New York. It's not, you can't apply that in California. And it's ridiculous. And the judge, as soon as it was brought to his attention what had happened, he should have canceled that subpoena. He has the power to do it. But he didn't do it. And it just floors me. How many mistakes? Oh, I had this little picture. This was my breakfast. Did you guys ever have these Asian sweet potatoes? These purple ones? I read that the darker the color of your fruits and vegetables, the healthier they are. And I meant to look up the word. I forgot what it's called, but it's so good for you. So like if you're going to choose between green grapes, red grapes, or black grapes, go with the darker color. They are so good. They are so sweet. I never want to eat a regular orange one again. And the ones that look like a regular potato, they're really pale, but their skin is purple. But oh my goodness, they're sweet. But yeah, that was my breakfast. I don't know why I felt like I needed to share that with you, but I just wanted to tell you, if you ever ubi, yes, that's it. That's what it's called. The colorful. See, I always hit the wrong one. Yes, the colorful is full of antioxidants. Yeah, there's a lot of things. I added some eggs for my protein. They do. They taste like custard. They're delicious. I had gone to Chinatown, and I had them, and they're so good. So sorry, God. Yes, it's Filipino. That's the way they say. I had some Filipino teachers working in my learning center when I lived in China. They were the best teachers. They were so vivacious and so had such good imaginations. They were such good teachers, and they introduced it to me. Okay, but I've gone totally off. When I saw the picture, I was like, oh, I forgot to show you what I had for breakfast. So back to my notes. What about what you made all of us endure? Because she's like sitting there crying for Blake. Oh, poor Blake. She's hamstrung, and it's got this sea of videos and all of these poor Blake things. But what about what you did to us? We didn't do anything wrong. We didn't hurt anybody. Yeah. So this brings us to the end of another fail by Esra. And I'm sure there will be more. Alrighty. So if you guys held back some comments that you wanted to make sure that we discussed, now is the time. I'm going to stand for a couple more minutes. So if anybody wants, if you have any specific questions or anything you'd like to add, eeny, meeny, miny, mo, which one? You want to take a vote? I don't know how to do the polls. I don't know if I can. Yeah, sorry guys. I'm still so bad about going live. I need to learn. Well, and now too, that's my next investment. I always say like what I get from the channel, which as much as these people would like to think is not much. I think it's like what am I up to? I got bumped up to $11 per 1,000 views and from AdSense. So guys, this doesn't make us rich. Some of the bigger ones that get millions and millions of views, they do all right. But us normal people, I mean, do the math. So 7, I cannot believe the audacity of not respecting your anonymity above celebrities that subscribe to press and public consumption. Ezra, eye roll, what a fiasco. Exactly. We didn't sign up. We didn't sign up for this. Leanne and I, we don't show our faces for good reasons. And to strip that from us, I feel even worse for her. I don't know if you guys saw her live the other day, but she told her story about why she has to stay anonymous. And it's a legit reason. So, some of us are not about getting our faces out there. We didn't sign up to be public people, to be recognized while we're out just living our lives. Believe it or not, some of us don't want that to happen. But these people chose that life. You get all the benefits of it, and there's a downside to it, just like everything else. So that's just the way it happens. Okay. Oh, Ashley's here. I'm seeing, hey, Ashley. Hey, Ashley. Where are you? Here we go. Late to the party, catching up. Hey, Ashley. See, and you know what? This is what women who support women look like. And I just want to take this moment to shame the Blake stans because they're not supporting women. They like to say that they are, but they're only supporting her. How many women have been harmed going through all this process? They don't support a single one of them. From what I understand, and I just want to say, not to hurt anyone's feelings, but please stop telling me what's being said about me on Reddit. I don't go there for a reason because I don't want to know. But because my president is Asian, and you can't hide that with an Asian name. It's some ethnicities, it shows in the name, and there's nothing you can do about it. But I guess they were having something smart to say about assuming she's Chinese and saying something about that. And how disgusting you are for that. And shame on you for that. And then trying to guess at my ethnicity. It's none of your business. It has nothing to do with who I am. Oh, that just made me mad. I just got mad, like sick to my stomach, mad all over again. Eliza Little, I appreciate you so much. You are voicing my opinions. Thank you, Cassidy. Yeah, that's what draws us together. But what I was saying is, like, I've gotten to know Ashley, and I had shouted her channel out before, but I didn't really speak with her much before. But with Lauren and with Leanne and Sweet and Salty, Shirsty, we're all talking to each other now and supporting each other. And this is hard for quite a few of us, not just me. I'm probably more vocal about it. Ashley's been vocal about it. Leanne's been vocal about it, but not everybody feels free to share their feelings. And but we've shared them with each other, and we're able to boost each other up a little bit. And that's what women supporting women looks like. It's not standing and paying for an award to be given and given this speech that means absolutely nothing to you as you say it, obviously, because you walk away and never never live it, never live your words. But all of us women, none of us matter to these people. So don't tell me that you're supporting Blake because she's a woman. It's not about that. So, but what they don't realize is that this affects free speech. And if this gets allowed, if this goes through, they're all sitting anonymously on their social media, wanting us to get unmasked, laughing at us for crying about being unmasked, while they sit anonymously. Theirs could be taken just as easily. And they don't even they're so stupid. Like I said, they don't think. They just start talking. They're asking for their own First Amendment right to be stomped all over by cheering this on. But they've got so much hate in their hearts that all they see is someone they don't like, me, being put in a bad position, and so they cheer it on without a thought or care as what this will do to everybody, including themselves. I don't understand people who can't see beyond their own hatred and their own enjoyment of watching someone else suffer. It's sick. You guys are, I'm not saying this to my chat. I'm saying this to any haters who might be here looking for something to run back to Reddit with. You need help. You're sick. You are not well. Now go mimeograph that to Reddit. But anyway, the rest of you guys are absolute darlings. The way you come here and support me, and it means so much. And I hope somebody says something stupid to you, you're now better armed with a response. But this filing was nothing but Esra throwing a temper tantrum and being mad that she got caught and trying to place blame because God forbid she take it or Blake take it. That's all it is. So what do you guys think? Eeny, meeny, miny, or mo, or all of the above? Yes, Aunt Claire, what they have has no cure. Very early on, Nick Vile did say they have a smoking gun without saying what it was. He should be subpoenaed. Yeah, he knows what they're up to, I'm sure. I've heard the name. That's somebody that Ryan follows or something. I don't know who that is. I've seen the name here and there. I think on X or something. Thank you, Amanda. Have you reached back out to Google? Did anyone give you guys a response? If not, is there a way to do something about that? Yeah, because Google asked for the file stamp. So the file stamp is that stamp that runs across the top that gives the document a designated docket number and the date. So, and the name of the court where it was filed in. So that's what Google asked us for. And so, yes, I've already sent that to Google. They haven't responded, but it is weekend, so I'm hoping to hear something more from them in the next couple of days. They haven't been very quick to respond. It took 3 emails for me to even get a copy of my subpoena. And there were other questions that I had put asking them about, well, the date on the subpoena says the 16th, which was why I wanted mine filed so quickly, and I was desperate to get it filed. And so mad about it being turned away because I'm like, I have to get it on the 16th because what if this is, something set up to make us fail? Because Google said 31st, but the subpoena said 16th. So we didn't know which date to honor. And I wanted to err on the side of caution and get it in at the earliest one. So they never even responded to that one at all. So anyway, please remove this photo. I don't want to look at these faces. All right. Let's see. The other one is them talking to Harvey Weinstein. That's worse. I'll give you my breakfast again. Seriously, you guys got to try this. It's so good. I've never seen it in regular store. I had to go to Chinatown. And so I went to the store while I was there and got some of the yummy stuff that I used to eat in China and miss. Why not why not special wait. Oh, what does this mean, Aunt Clara? Why not special master used? I don't understand what you mean, Aunt Clara. Can you expand on that? Yes, messy subpoenas. Belle says much better. The chicken butt. I'm never gonna live that down. But some parts of me will never grow up. Anytime I hear anytime someone asks me, guess what? Or you know what? Or I say it's just immediately followed by chicken butt. It just has to be. So that's become my thing. I'm afraid to use it on every live because then you guys will get sick of it. So yes, Andy did say he was recording the conversation, so she can. And it's so rich to hear them say, "Oh, this is illegal. Oh, the penal code, lady, your law firm carried out a whole sham lawsuit, a whole sham subpoena. Don't be preaching to anybody about recording a phone call because you're sitting there on the entire contents of Jennifer Abel's phone. The hypocrisy with these people is you won't ever get sick of chicken butt. Good. So some of you have that never grow up. The same thing I have. Chicken butt fried in grease. Want a piece? Oh, that's even better. Okay, is this saying? Nope, I did it again. I'm so bad at this. Have orange sweet potatoes in Portugal. Yeah, we have the orange ones here, but person at court that unbiased goes through documents, not Ezra. Yeah, where's the list of all the shady outlets smearing Justin? Yeah. But seriously, they need to hire somebody who knows how to analyze social media, who recognizes an actual smear campaign, which I promise you looks very, very different than this. Needs to go through and analyze, not that weird, someone did some Twitter person did some analyzing that was so stupid. And I went to his ex account and told him in Chinese how stupid it was, because I can speak and write. But thank you for standing by justice. We stand by you and the other creators. Don't stop reporting. They are bullies and want to silence us all. Team Justin. Thank you, Umbrella Reader Red. Yeah, I'm hearing about a deep dive on Esra. It's one of the things I had wanted to do and never quite got to do. I'm kind of mad about this taking so much of my time when so much is happening, and I know it's by design. They know a lot of big things are happening, and if they get us all busy dealing with these subpoenas, it's less time. That's why I didn't have enough time to do like an actual recording and all that like I usually do for these, how I prefer to do these document summaries. But I'm like, I'm getting this out because I'm leaving tomorrow, and I probably won't be able to do much while I'm gone other than just like research. But I was bound and determined that I was going to get this episode out today. So she was not going to stop me from covering this ridiculous document and calling her out. Can someone confirm what state Andy is in? Only if he publicly says that. Please don't say it if it's not something he makes known. Because I don't know. I don't know if he keeps that private or if he openly talks about it. So just keep that in mind. Yes, I did find that out, and I wanted to go beyond that, but I hadn't had the chance because these documents just never stop, and then this subpoena happened. So every time I've got several projects like that I started and had no time to ever actually get to. Chicken butts are actually very delicious. There's a big chunk of delicious meat right there. I've heard about this. I heard there's some controversy, but I'm not gonna say what it is, because I have not confirmed it. But whenever I hear controversy, I always proceed with caution. But yeah, that was another thing I wanted to do. I'd only gotten to the financial side, but then several of you have put in my comments letting me know that there was a a oh, what not a is it a trust or some kind of oh, he does openly say he's in Florida. Good. It's some kind of foundation or trust or something, and there was a big donation given by, well, I'm not going to finish that sentence because I haven't verified it yet, and I don't want to have to put out another put out another redaction or correction. So I'm not going to finish that thought. But yeah, I've really wanted to dive into that, but have not had the time to do all of the things that I really want to do. Yeah, Kirsty had she had one of the content creators that was subpoenaed from X. She had her on, I think that was this morning. I don't know if it aired this morning, but I saw it this morning. And she was talking about it. And she said it was really strange that she didn't recognize most of the accounts that were subpoenaed, and that some of them didn't even seem to talk about sorry, I just saw Ashley's to talk about Blake and Ryan. So it's really a big question about why they were subpoenaed. But I did want to make a correction on there. She is not the only attorney that was subpoenaed. Leanne was subpoenaed as well, and Leanne is an attorney, in spite of what Reddit might say. She is a very, very good one as well, and a very, very good person. Oh, yeah, there we go. Someone's saying it. Thank you. Spread the word. Spread the word. Christina E. The Kirsty video was good, but Leanne is also a lawyer and involved. Leanne has worked tirelessly. She's 6 hours difference from me and 9 hours difference from others. And anytime I put something out there, she seems to be there, and she's been so helpful and helped us all the way through it. And now she's going through it herself. She's got little ones. One needs special care. She's recovering from a very traumatic situation that she speaks openly about. I won't describe it. If you want to hear about it, go to her own words on her channel where she does talk about it. Oh, I don't know who this is about. But yeah, I did want to make that clear. I gave it in a comment too, just for people to know there was at least one other attorney that was subpoenaed. I didn't want to see Leanne overlooked. I hope we see more sassy filings to the docket. Leanne is amazing. Let's see. Where did I see? I saw someone from Ireland, but it went by too fast. I wanted to see it really quick. Hi, I'm from Ireland. Thank you for the coverage. Stay strong. People here love you. Aw, well, I love you guys back. Really and truly. I'm so excited. Last time I went, it was February, and boy, was it cold. And we went to, I was staying in Galway at the time, and they have these wonderful little bus excursions that you can go for the day to some further out places. It takes all day. You have to start really early in the morning, and then you go to these faraway places that were so cool. I went to Connemara and Cong, and I had the most delicious pancakes of my life at a little place called Puddle Ducks that was so cute. Some days I just want to cry. I want to go back there so bad. But we were at Connemara, which has this huge estate that has its own abbey that a man had built for his wife. And there's like walled gardens. I mean, it is just huge that you get to tour a little bit of the house and the abbey and some other things. And that was the funniest weather day of my life. It was perfectly sunny. It was storming rain. It was hail. I can't remember if there was snow. It was both calm and extraordinarily windy. And it all happened within like an hour of itself. It was perfectly sunny. I have this weird thing I do. If I go anywhere that is in my DNA, I always find a rock. If possible, a shell as well. But I want a rock from the place. And it's weird. Don't judge me. I always take off my shoes and socks and step in the water. I just want to. I don't know why. It's one of my things. I also take pictures of any pretty door or window that I see. I have hundreds of pictures of doors. I have a whole wall of the prettiest ones framed, just a bunch of frames of doors. Don't ask me. I don't know, but I love it. But yeah, I stick my, so I was there in the sunshine, dipping my toes, even though it was frigid cold. Even though it was sunny, it was cold. Dipping my feet in the water and getting my rock. And then all of a sudden, hail. And thank goodness we were close to the abbey, and we were running in there and to take cover. And within 5 minutes, it was perfectly sunny again. It was so weird. I'm like, where are we? Okay, let's see. Grounding to the earth in your roots. Yeah, it feels almost spiritual, you know. My ancestors. We ate the same. It's very reassuring. You ate at Puddle Ducks? Oh my goodness, that was in Kong, I think. It's the village where they filmed. It was so funny. They filmed the biggest thing they advertised is that they filmed this old John Wayne movie. And what is it called? The Quiet Man. I'd never seen it. And so I was like, oh, that's cool. Cause they loved that this movie was filmed there. So they have all of these landmarks of what was in the movie. They made a statue of John Wayne, and I forget who was it Maureen something? Maureen O'Hara? That sounds right. And they've built like this bronze statue of them. And then so they're so proud of it. So I got home and I found it, and I was like, yikes, this is terrible. He was like physically abusive to her and stuff. I don't think I finished watching it. I was like, yikes, this is not for me, but they're so proud of it. I don't know, maybe it gets better, but he actually like put hands on her, and I was like, no, I'm not watching this. But I guess movies were different then. And I had a friend who was so excited about it. She's like, oh, I grew up on that movie. So it's just my personal taste, I guess. But Suzette Rodriguez, all you women and all the guys fighting for justice, I loved your channel. How can I become a member? And I feel so bad you guys becoming members. I haven't done much member stuff. I've been struggling to keep up with all of this. I really need to do that. There should be a little button, join. I know there's a problem sometimes using Apple, because Apple and Google had a little bit of a slap fight with each other, because Apple wanted some money off of the ability to let their users use Google, something like that. I can't remember all of the details. And so it's I think you can't go through the app on your phone. You have to go through like the website version or something like that. I remember that from when I first got membership and people were having a hard time to do it. I Googled it, and that's what I was told. But you can look, there are videos here on YouTube that you can look up that tell you how to do that. Chelsea Cox, I'm concerned the tag interrogatory will reveal that tag reps sent super chats to CCs, which were critical of Blake. Could those be effectively used to justify payment and behest allegations? No, not unless they can prove that the that we creators were fed information by them and asked to do it. What someone sends us in a super chat, we have no control over that. We enjoy it. We're grateful for it. I thank you for it. But if this were Jennifer Abel using the name Chelsea Cox, I wouldn't know that. So no, it's not enough. So if for example, if they did, and they have to be honest, if they're asked for things and they did somehow send a comment on our channel or send a super chat, they have to disclose that. But that coming up on a list does not give them the right to subpoena me. That means so in discovery, you ask the interrogatories, and those are the very basic questions. And those came first, if you remember, if you've been following me all along, and we talked about each step. We talked about the interrogatories. Those are a very first step of your investigation. They build the foundation, the corners of your where you're going to go from there. And then you take those things and you expand on them. You get more and more information. But where do you get that information? You're supposed to get it from the person whose interrogatory you got it from. You follow up. It's the basic structure of discovery. Is digging. You send those out, and then, oh, wait, this is something I want to follow up on more. So you send more. You send subpoenas to the party. And that would answer that would stop all of this ridiculous circus that it's become, this stripping us of our rights. It didn't have to come to this. All they had to do, if names showed up on the interrogatories, the next step was not to jump to subpoenas. The next step was to depose them on it. You have this list of names. Tell me about each of these people in this list. Tell me why they're on this list. Did you pay them? They have to answer. Did you supply them information? They have to answer. Did they use the information you supplied them? They have to answer. That was the next step. I don't know. I mean, this ridiculous overreaction. Like, calm down, people. Stop overreacting. It's so silly. And now she's going to say, oh, why is Blake getting all the hate? This is Tag's fault. They made a list. No, Ezra. You were supposed to follow up. You know how to do that. This isn't your first case. Good grief. The subpoenas should be ruled as unconstitutional. I don't think Judge Lyman is the judge that's going to do that. And that's why I have a backup plan that I'm putting in place this week, and why I'm filing complaints. Because I have a feeling that New York just kind of does whatever New York wants. They don't seem to understand that they're part of this country and part of the laws of this land. They're trying to be their own country, their own planet, for heaven's sake. These rules and these case law are decided for a reason, and they're meant to be followed. Not for you to say, oh, that's not for me. I can just do this. So crazy. Yeah, I've heard some people speaking on this. Was it Judge Rachel talking about it? I don't want to. Oh, see, I learned. This is why I don't like to go live, because I say things without thinking, and then I don't want anybody to go, Cassidy said, Judge Rachel said. So, and I'm just questioning my memory. I'm not actually making a statement. All of this stuff. Let's see. I have a feeling that all this does is give them the time they need with a form, of distraction. Be interesting to see if they suddenly drop it and walk away from the chaos they've caused. Yes, and they wanted people to stop talking about the sham lawsuit and the sham subpoena Well, now there's subpoena everywhere, and it's going to cover over what they don't want people to really talk about. Who knows? Who knows? Is Ezra from a wealthy family? I don't know. I haven't deep dived her yet. Judge Lyman is. I mean, he came onto the bench having almost $40 million just in investments. And you're not supposed to put more than half of your wealth into investments in case you lose it. And he chose some really stupid stock, probably because of his brother. But anyway, yeah, that's definitely wealthy when you have that much to invest. How much have you got just in your regular cash and assets and regular accounts? She's never going to do a deposition where, oh, see, I did it. I need somebody with power to do this for me. She's never going to do a deposition, too scared of Brian Friedman, and she is a pathological liar. Exactly. And I think she got a lot of wind taken out of her sails when that video was released and Justin made it known. I have footage of everything. She thought he wasn't mic'd, but I think once he realized something was off, it's what I would have done. I think he kept those cameras rolling, and I think he kept himself mic'd. And now she's afraid to say anything, because if she makes the claim and it turns up there's footage of it, she's in big trouble for lying. She can be impeached. She can have her whole case shut down for that. That's why she wants this film footage so bad. But yeah, most federal courts, not this one. I said that a long time ago. Not just because she's a woman, but I get a good reading on people usually pretty quickly. And I love Ellen. I don't know about as a person, but I think as an attorney, I like the way she thinks. I like the way she writes. And then one of the subs here was a court reporter and worked with her. And she listed all of the things. She loves her too. And I mean, that says a lot when your court reporter loves you. And all the things she said is like, I knew it. I knew she would be like that. But I think she's probably very observant, and I think she probably, one of the things I loved about her, I can tell a fake smile in a second. I can tell fake emotion in a second. I don't know why. It's like a feeling of my body. It goes through my body. Someone can pretend to cry, and I know when it's fake. But Ellen was representing a client. I can't remember who it was. And you know how they come out after the trial and the press is all there and they give a little press conference? When her client spoke, he got choked up. She had won for him. And he got choked up because he was talking, and then he said something about "for my son," and he started to cry. And she instantly, and it was a quick second, and she recovered herself, but she instantly had a visceral reaction, and her face scrunched up. You know what we call an ugly cry? I don't mean she looked ugly. I mean what we describe, even when we talk about ourselves, an ugly cry. That is a genuine sadness. When you sit there and pucker your lip and you get a little tear running down and your face is all perfectly pretty, and that's not genuine. But when you feel it to your soul, your face crinkles in an unflattering way, and we call it an ugly cry. Yes, she's empathetic. She has not lost her soul. She still feels. And she felt because he said his son. And, oh, you saw it? Zach has it on video. Did you guys? Oh, wait. Oh, that's the subpoena. Wait, what? Zach has what on video? Am I missing something here? But, Yeah, Zach was pranked. He hasn't gotten one to my knowledge. That doesn't mean he won't get one. But you know what I mean? When I saw that, I was like, this lady still has a heart in there. And a lot of attorneys lose their heart after a while, but she still had it. And I was like, this is the one. And that also makes you very keen to pick up when you're being lied to. And I just picture her being able to outsmart Blake in a more effective and efficient way than anything Brian Friedman's going to be able to do. I think Brian Friedman should be there, but only one of them can ask the questions. And I think it should be Ellen, because there's going to be so much time wasted them fussing and screaming at Brian. But I think Ezra will find that she's outmatched across from Ellen. That's just my personal opinion. That's what I would do. And you know what else? I would have every Wayfair party member and their spouse sitting in that room, because Blake should have to face them when she says what she says. And when she's questioned about the Van Zandt sham, Jennifer Abel should be sitting there. That's my opinion. That's what I would do. If I were on that team, I would say Ellen asks the questions. Brian Friedman is also there. And every party that can stomach it. Now, if they don't want to be there, I understand. But I would pep talk them till they were ready and say, please do this. They should all be there, because she's going to have to in court anyway. So why not do it at the deposition, where it's a lot more intimate and they're right there looking at her while she tries to spill up her lies and has to face the people whose lives she's harmed. So, all right, guys, I've yacked far too long. Oh my goodness, over 2.5 hours. How can you stand it? Why are you still here? Oh goodness. All right, guys, thank you so very much for spending your Sunday with me. I greatly appreciate it. I appreciate all the support from everyone. If I go through these all over again one more time in case I missed anybody, just to thank you guys all so much, and know that this is being used. Where's this one? Hey, Hayden. Oh, get lost so easy. Okay, there we go. This is being used in furtherance of, and like I said, you might see the filing tomorrow, or it may take a couple of days, where I've asked it to be put on hold if it's not going to be granted. And there's a reason behind that. And the reason is, you will find out. And have a great rest of your weekend.